Hi, everyone. Here's Ricardo. 1 second, we are going to give 1 minute and then we're going to start. Have a delay in the system is interesting to see that. Okay, so remove. Okay, here we are. Just a second, Lior. I assume that you are online right now, but I cannot see yet. Yes, we are here. Perfect. So hi, everyone. Here's Ricardo. We are the European Customer Experience Organization. I'm just checking if we started here because we have some technical problems. And we'll start with Lior Arussy in 1 second. All right. Lior, first of all, welcome to the CXO. I will follow our normal presentation and then I'm going to introduce you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CXO today. We have a special guest, Lior Arussy. 1 second, I cannot see the presentation. Is interesting. Just a second, people. I'm sorry. But you need to have that right. Here we are. Perfect. Okay, we are okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Welcome to everyone for the CXO executive sessions today. Today, our guest is Lior Arussy, as you probably already realized. And I'll introduce him a bit late. I first introduce you the CXO. The ECXO is a no-profit CX professional network of business. And you can... And you can... Thank you, everyone, for coming. Welcome to everyone for the CXO. And today we are going to talk with Lior. How we will manage the session, that's the important part. Lior would like to take your questions in the end, so we have 15 or maybe 20 minutes in the end you can ask your questions, so it's not going to be a problem. Let me introduce you Lior. The reason why I invited Lior is because Lior is a practitioner that have done everything, 250 CX transformational programs in large companies, in large organizations that we all are familiar with, such as BMW, Mercedes, Federal Express, etc. So this makes his perspective is very practical, and we thought that this will fit us here because that's what we need in Europe and around the globe. We need practicality. Inspiration is very important. It's very good. Lior certainly is a guy that inspires well, but we want people that are practical here to talk with us. And Lior is the best example. So who is Lior? He's a leader, has spread 250 transformational programs. Lior is one of the world leading authorities on customer experience transformation and change. Arussy is one experienced change practitioner, success accelerator, corporate culture expert, and founder of the design and transformational famous company Strativity Group. He wrote several books. His last book is here. I can really recommend it. It's a great book about change. Okay, and always when I see the title and the subjects that he published in this book, I think if he was not foreseeing COVID, although it's not connected at all, but it's all about change, and we did not expect to have such amounts of change during 1 year. Lior, welcome today to the ECXO. It's very nice to have you here. I have just to ask you to load again your presentation that I cannot see again here. And then we're going to start right away. Welcome, everyone. I'm seeing the people arriving. Perfect. So here is your presentation. Lior, the stage is yours. Welcome. Okay, and I'm going to disappear for some time, and I'll be right here.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ricardo. It's a great pleasure to join this session. Can you see my slides in full mode?
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So welcome, everyone. And as Ricardo mentioned before, my name is Lior Arussy. I come to you really from a position of a practitioner who've been there in the trenches, working with clients around the world in conducting their transformation. Strativity, the company that I founded in 2003, was one of the first companies that specialized and focused just on customer experience, transformation. We established a whole host of new practices in the arena. And actually, one of our most successful early projects was done out of Europe. It was FedEx with a headquarter in Brussels, Belgium, and work in a variety of countries from Norway to the UK, Spain, Germany, France, Holland, and others. So always great to come back to visit our dear friends in Europe. The topic today will combine something that's a bit visionary with something that extremely is practical. We're going to try to combine them both. And I promise you that by the end of it, you'll have some practical concepts that you can actually start looking at your own organization and see how you can bring it to life without necessarily a big budget or a new technology or anything else. The discussion around AI around the world is all focusing on the impact of performance and work when it comes to AI, the jobs that AI is going to replace, the smart notion of processes that AI chatbots can execute, and so on and so forth. And I want to tackle actually AI from a different perspective. I believe that AI is not only going to impact the service platforms that you're using or the employees and the roles and responsibilities that they are actually doing, but actually it's going to impact our customers even more, and the mindset of customers is going to change. So the questions I want to address today is, what does AI mean to our customers and their mindsets and their expectations? What does it mean to our businesses, to our organizations, to our companies? And how do we get ready? What can we do in order to get ready to the new AI-empowered customer? As mentioned to you before, I got the privilege of working with over 250 global brands, some of them in Europe, some of them in the United States, some of them in the Middle East, and some in Asia as well. And I have to tell you, whenever I think about this, and I think about the essence of what we've done with them, some of it is customer experience, some of them is teaching them a new language. Speaking in customarish was a new language for them. For them, some of them, it was practicing a new muscle called customer experience, which they have not had the experience before. But when you ask all of them, why are you doing customer experience? They will give us a variety of answers, from customer satisfaction to NPS to a variety of measurements. And ultimately, when we engage with them, we always ask, these are soft numbers. Can we have a hard number? What is it that is costing you that you need to make a change? Because change is not easy, and a lot of organizations are not successful in doing it. And ultimately, we'll come to two areas. A, customer acquisition is becoming more and more expensive. Customers are not excited about our value. And customer retention is dropping, which means after we made the investment in acquiring customers, the retention that should compensate for it is not coming to life. So it's usually those two drivers, the customer acquisition and the customer retention, that would be the main benefits that we would focus around. And since I mentioned to you FedEx, when we work with FedEx in Europe, their organic growth was less than 3%. When we finished 2 years later, the organic growth was 44%, and the profit margins have increased by 56%. These are the type of results that customer experience can and should deliver if we ask the right questions. And ultimately, when we think about customer experience and when we think about customer relationships, there are really two ways in which we can acquire and retain customers: inspiration or desperation. Inspiration is when we lead our customers with exciting value that they want to actually have and are willing to pay the premium price for it. Desperation, you can identify it very quickly. When your cost of acquisition goes up, when the cost of marketing goes up, when customers are dropping you very fast, when price is the primary differentiator, you're in desperation, you're not in inspiration. Most of our clients came to us because they were looking to engage their customers in inspiration and away from desperation. Every time I'll talk to customers, they'll say, we would like to have exceptional results. Exceptional results are defined by both higher margins and higher revenue. In order to have exceptional results, we need to deliver the most exceptional experience, not just okay experience, not just mediocre experience, not just acceptable experience, but exceptional experience, the best choice that the customers will say, I don't want to work with anybody else. In order to get there, you need to deliver an exceptional employee performance. This is actually a personal choice. And I'll share with you a small anecdote. I was one day standing in line to check in my luggage. The guy in front of me, he didn't just bring his luggage, but he actually brought his life baggage. And I start to notice that the passenger is starting to scream and yell at the airline employee that was helping him. That was ugly, that was not appropriate, and so on and so forth. So, of course, what do you do when you see a passenger yelling at an airline employee? You get your cell phone, you get it ready with video, because very soon you're going to have a very interesting viral video that's going to go everywhere. And I'm just waiting, and all I need is for her to yell at him back. But she's not. She's professional. She is cool. She's composed. I was impressed. So when he eventually left, it was my turn. I came to her and I said, ma'am, I have to tell you, I overheard the conversation here. This guy was very rude to you, but I have to tell you, the way you have handled the person was absolutely amazing, and I commend you on that. And at that point, she turned to me and she said, Mr. Arussy, please don't worry. His luggage is going to Alaska. She then actually approached me and asked me if I have any luggage check-in. I'm like, no, you don't touch my luggage. But this employee reminded me again, the cardinal rule, if we want to be successful in delivering exceptional results and exceptional experiences, and that is that every company is the sum total of their employees' choices. You cannot mandate employees to smile sincerely. You cannot mandate to care. You cannot mandate them to be creative. These are personal choices, and every organization is the sum total of that. In fact, our research have demonstrated that companies that were in the top 25% of employee engagement in their industry were 3 times more likely to hit customer satisfaction top scores and were on average 59% more profitable. So remember the concept of choice. And I remember that one day one client came to me and he said, Lior, we're celebrating because today we have improved the customer experience by 90%. I said, wow, 90%, that's a great number. What did you do? He said, do you remember the study we did and the problem that we had with clients? And I said, yes. In fact, 100% of your invoices were not accurate. He said, great, that's the problem. We now installed the new software and our accuracy issue is only 10%. So only 10% of our invoices are not correct. And I said to him, can you show me one customer that will pay you a 1 cent more for the privilege of receiving an accurate invoice? And what this customer did is the classic mistake of misunderstanding where customer experience plays. What this customer did, he did what was expected. He met the parity line of customer expectations, but he was hoping to get exceptional recognition by the customers. And that doesn't work that way. Customers are saying, as long as you're meeting my expectations, that's just you doing your job. There's nothing special there. It is important that if you have broken processes that you'll move up to fix them, but that cannot be the end game. That's not where we are going to play. Because if you want the loyalty, if you want me to come and do business with your business, you need to differentiate. You need to find a way to actually differentiate your business. Remember this beautiful device. This is the Dynatec 8000X, was introduced to the world in 1983 by Motorola. Let's see what happened to Motorola over time. In 1983, Motorola introduced the Dynatec 8000X, the first cell phone. It was, by the way, 1 hour battery. For those of you who did not know, cost about $3,500, $3,500 US dollars at that time, not adjusted to inflation today. And it was the most exciting thing. The value was awesome. But then Motorola made the classic mistake and took the same value and replicated it for 11 years. Can you imagine using the same cell phone for 11 years? Well, customers were not imagining that either. And what was absolutely exciting in 1983 became boring in 1995 and then eventually became annoying in 1999, and Motorola is no longer really playing there. And if you would say that this is just one company's mistake, unfortunately, this is not the case. Nokia decided in 1992 to enter the cell phone business and actually commanded at the top of it 43% market share and then lost it. Sony was playing there as a major player and they lost it. Remember BlackBerry from Canada with these beautiful keyboards that we were absolutely addicted to, and they lost the business. Now iPhone is running and ruling the world there, but Samsung and UI are coming right after, and they are going to introduce another value. What is really happening here? And I believe that this question is critical to the question of value and customer experience. At a certain point, your company had a value that customer wanted, and that's when your ways started to diverge. The company took the value and replicated it and just tweaked it a little bit because they were trying to maximize their profits. In the meanwhile, the customer was leaping with different type of changes. In 2008, we had economic crisis. In 2015, digital transformation came in. In 2020, COVID was hitting us. And that's how we opened the customer value growing gap. That is when what was once exciting became eventually irrelevant to customers, and customers are going elsewhere. And part of the responsibility of customer experience is to stay relevant to customers across time and not just at a certain given moment. When we think about the concept of value creation, let's take a bit of a historical perspective because I think it's going to help us understand the challenges we are facing. Up until the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, we lived in agrarian era. In the agrarian era, the merchants were actually making stuff by hand. You would go to the local goldsmith or silversmith, and they will create for you whatever you wanted. It will be done just for you. It was one of a kind, and that was it. When the Industrial Revolution was introduced in 1760, we saw the move from creating by hands to creating by machines. That gave rise to increase in product variety, in lower costs, in wider availability, the emergence of consumer cultures, the rise of department stores, and the introduction of consumer credit. By the way, we all know that part of that was what we know from Henry Ford, that once said, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. I don't know how many of you know, why did he choose black? Why not white? Why not red? Why not blue? The answer is actually quite simple. Black was the color that dried 4 hours earlier than any other color. All he cared about is creating the same exact product and sell it to as many people as possible. The value creation was the owner, was the manufacturer, the consumer was just getting it. Then we've seen in the early 1980s the rise of mass customization. We have realized after decades and decades that customers are not coming in a one-size-fits-all. They come in a variety of ways, in a variety of expectations, in a variety of colors, and we started to produce for that. That's when mass customization came to the world, and we provided a variety of options, increasing customer choice, enhancing personalization, improving product fit and functionality. And that was the third phase in value creation for customers. I believe that we are now facing the fourth phase of customer value creation, and it's going to be radically different. Let's talk about it for a moment. Remember your doctors? 15 years ago, doctors were revered. Doctors were appreciated. A doctor will go into a room, diagnose the patient, provide them a prescription, and we will say thank you. What happened over the last couple of years? A doctor will come and try to diagnose, and you'll say to the doctor, well, sir, I already diagnosed myself on Google. I already have my preferred medicine. I just came here to check with you if you're in agreement with that. And what we've seen is that the knowledge empowerment have given consumers the power to know it all through their own sources, and we collapse the traditional knowledge authorities. In fact, one of the interesting things is we are seeing a 15% drop in college registrations because the new generation doesn't think that they need authorities like professors to tell them what to do. Definitely after COVID, when we have experienced that all the health authorities had no idea what to do, our trust in them is dropping. So the first empowerment that consumers have experienced was the knowledge empowerment, and they got into the mindset of I know it all. Then came the service empowerment. In the name of outsourcing and empowering our customers, we taught them how to become travel agents. We taught them how to become their own bankers. We taught them how to choose their own insurance. And now all of a sudden, they don't need the banker. They don't need the insurance agents. They don't need the travel agents. They can do all of it, and they got an additional layer of empowerment in the service empowerment. By the way, according to Gartner Group, 91% of all businesses worldwide are busy with more digitization of their processes, which will empower customers with more service. Influencers. What a wonderful concept. According to the market, we are looking at about a market of about $139 billion by the year 2030. What is the essence of influencers? We are now paying customers to use our products and broadcast that. The power of traditional authorities of news are being shifting to the power of individuals. So our customers who knew it all and now can do it all can also broadcast it all to everyone else. Then came the entrepreneurship empowerment, what is known in the world as the gig economy. By the way, the word gig was originally created in 1915 by jazz players who were not paid regular jobs, but they were paid just for one job at a time. But the gig economy actually gave rise in the year 2009, predominantly after the financial crisis, where people had to work multiple jobs. It was accelerated by Uber and Airbnb and all these type of other services that allowed people to work on their terms and not in a regular employer. Today, by the way, the gig economy is estimated as $355 billion by the year 2021, and it will go to $1.8 trillion by the year 2031. All of a sudden, if your workplace, your employer was a form of authority, I don't need it. I can build it myself. I can be my own entrepreneur. Virtual gaming is a phenomenal element that we have seen rising because of the internet power. In fact, this market is growing at 13% CAGR and is right now a $245 billion business going to $682 billion business by the year 2030. What did virtual gaming have done is actually allowed people to create their own collaboration, to view their friends wherever they are. Traditional collaboration authorities, be it universities, be it churches, be it community centers, are losing their power. And again, another authority collapse as our consumers became more empowered with what I call, I can collaborate with anyone. For those of you who don't know what YOLO is you only live once. We have seen a major increase in YOLO travel in post-pandemic. Today, 1 in 4 travelers around the world is a single traveler who's traveling just to enjoy life because they don't want to miss any opportunity. The fact that in Europe, 45% of all European travel are done by low-cost airlines are empowering our travelers not to wait, but to immediately take charge and enjoy it immediately. Don't wait. Then comes Gen AI. And with Gen AI, I believe that we are getting to the inflection point, because what Gen AI is introducing to the world is the fact that we can all be creators. We don't need to wait for authors. We don't need to wait for artists. We can create our own movies. We can create our own pictures. We can create our own stories. And that, I believe, is the ultimate defining moment. That if we look at all the empowerments that our customers have gone through in the last couple of years, from the knowledge empowerment of I know it all, to the service empowerment of I can do it all, to the sharing empowerment of I'm the broadcaster, to the entrepreneurship empowerment of I can work my way, to the collaboration empowerment with I can collaborate with anyone, to the YOLO empowerment of I can enjoy it right now, to the creation empowerment of I can create anything. The answer is I don't need anyone. And welcome to the new breed of customer, what I call the one and only. I don't need anyone. No one is my authority anymore. I am the authority. I know it. You want to work with me? You're going to have to change the way that you work with me. You want to create value for me when I can create all of these things on my own? You're going to have to change the way you engage with me. If you want to think about it, you can do this exercise with your teams. You can do this exercise with your employees. What if you only had one customer who pays all your bills? How would you service them differently? How would you deliver value to them? What will be your business objectives with them? What would you stop doing and what would you start doing? Because the essence of the new customer is exactly that. I'm the one and only. And if you look at the answers you're going to give, it's going to sound something like this. We will be there for you when you need it, where you need it, with what you need before you ask. We will not just meet your expectations, we will empower you to exceed your expectations. Welcome to the new era of the one and only. That's what customers are looking for. That's what customers are expecting from us. And it's a totally different play. This is what I call the yes code. So how do we do it? First and foremost, the way we do it is co-creation. In April 2023, the art world was shocked by the announcement by Damien Hirst, the contemporary artist from Britain, who announced that for the next 10 days, he designed a special art platform that allows you, it's a spin art platform, a digital one. You can go there, you can choose your colors, you can create your own creation, and then if you pay him, he will actually produce it, sign it, and send it to you. The art world was laughing at Damien Hirst, but he made over $20 million in 10 days from thousands and thousands of people who shifted from asking Damien Hirst to create for them art and to becoming co-creators with him. Damien Hirst understood the shift into the one and only and understood that value will no longer come from him as an art authority, but it's going to come from the collaboration of him and his customers. His customers are now co-creators. That means that from a process standpoint, it starts with a totally different discovery, not trying to figure out how do you like my product, but discovering deeper than that. It's going to be joint design, it's going to be personal creation, it's going to be individual delivery, and it's going to be an evolving adaptation. This requires us to develop a new platform of thinking. We're no longer taking the product and like a process operators trying to sell it to as many people as possible. These are old phases of value creations. We're coming to it like impact creators, trying to understand the impact that customers are actually looking for and asking ourselves, how are we going to deliver to you the impact that you're looking for based on what you want? And then we become the collaborators, the toolbox, the process creators, but not forcing you to a one size fits all. That's what I call the yes code, or in a simple way, the new definition of customer experience will be the answer is yes. What's the question? And I know that right now the cynical voice in the back of your head is screaming, saying, no, you can't do that. The answer is not always yes. The answer sometimes is no. Step back for a second. The answer is yes, as long as it's ethical and it's profitable. The one and only customer is not looking to hear about your processes, is not looking to hear about your limitations, is not looking to hear about any of those things. They're going to get the path to yes, as long as it's ethical and as long as it is profitable. The question is, are you going to be the one helping them, or someone else is going to be helping them? And how are we going to build a platform of communication of the answer is yes, what's the question? I call this platform ACE, acknowledge, care, and excel. Let's examine it for a moment in a deeper way. And how do we build a platform of the answer is yes, what's the question? So when we say the answer is yes, it's broken down to three components. First, in the acknowledge, yes, I listened to you. Yes, I understood what you said. Yes, I empathize with your feelings. And yes, I saw you as an individual person. The yes starts by affirming the customer as the one and only, as an individual, as a unique person, as a person with emotions, and not just with a need for the product. Then depends on what the customer asks for. The answer yes can be a variety of things. It can be yes right now. It can be yes, but with a greater context. It can be yes, but it's going to be later. It's going to be yes, but it's conditional upon you upgrading to the new service. It can be yes, but with this alternative instead of what you ask for. Or it sometimes can be yes, go somewhere else. When I work with some car manufacturers, one of the things that we've established is actually the notion of buying cars back. There are some customers who made a mistake. There are customers who are asking for things that are unreasonable. And yes, elsewhere was a legitimate answer saying, we understand you're sorry. We understand you're not happy. Please go yes elsewhere. That's a legitimate yes. And then finally, in the Excel, yes, we added a touch of wow. Yes, we added the gratitude. Yes, we did follow up. When you start training your people that the answer is yes, what's the question? And you need them to start implementing it in different interactions and engagement with customers, I have to tell you, you're going to have to do some training. Because today, if you're going to actually look at it, your company platform is on the no code, not on the yes code. We are finding ways to say no to customers as opposed to finding paths to yes that people will need to learn how to do. They're going to have to be trained to do that. And the other thing they're going to have to do is they're going to have to be empowered to respond when they hear the different type of requests. But the answer is yes, what's the question, is a new way of looking at customer experience as a value creator in the fourth phase of value creation, where our customers are so empowered that they're not looking at us as authorities. They're not looking at us as people that will dictate to them what they can or cannot do. They've already determined what they can or cannot do with all the empowerment that we have given them in the past. The only question is, are we willing to be collaborators, or are we still going to treat them as inferior to us because our product is so amazing? And I want to give you an example. Insurance is a very difficult product to sell. And the reason for that is quite simple. Insurance is not a product that we enjoy. In fact, I am not planning to take advantage of my life insurance because taking advantage of my life insurance means that I'm going to have to die. That is too much of a requirement. I'm not looking forward. If any of you are in the insurance business, you know how difficult it is. And yet one company in the US stands out, Acuity Insurance. There are 3,000 insurance companies in the US, all competing with each other, mostly on price. Acuity does not compete on price. In fact, in the last 23 years, Acuity have grown double digit every year, year over year, no matter what the economic cycle. I'll share with you a couple of more things about Acuity. Acuity answers 98.5% of all calls within 16 seconds. Acuity closes 96% of all claims, while the industry does that on average 88%. Acuity's revenue per employee is $1.4 million versus the industry average of $1 million. That's a 40% higher level. The attrition, the retention of employees is so high that only 3% of Acuity employees leave them every year versus 13%. How do they do that? Acuity invests in customer experience, but in a different way. With a kind hearts, we dare to care for our family of employees, agents, and customers by staring down risk. Acuity creates value on a regular basis that is constantly corresponding to the evolving needs of the customers. And you know how they do that? By constant curiosity. Acuity refuses to have 5-year strategic plan. Instead, Acuity every year brings the smartest minds to challenge them. And at the end of every January, they select 5 new topics to introduce as their strategic initiatives for the years. This year, every year, they are forced to ask themselves, what's new? What's different? They're not in the business of repeating products. They're in the business of constant curiosity that creates an amazing experience for them. And then they go and they actually empower their employees to go and deliver on a platform of, yes, how can we help you? What you see here actually is not a comic book. It's actually the annual report. If you pay attention, it's the annual report of Acuity in 2020. And it came as a result of my conversation with them about the superpower of the employees and the Acuity hero in each and every one of the employees. They were empowered to deliver the job, and they are doing that 23 years, year after year, double digit, on a product that is not necessarily exciting, with a highly competitive environment, and without spending tons of money on customer acquisitions. They do that by making sure that their value is constantly being challenged and constantly relate to what customer wants. And in that, in order to activate the yes code, we need to go, and this is where we become very practical, to the power of questions. Today, we usually ask yes or no questions. We ask very predictable questions, and they often do not provide new knowledge of the customer. The reason for that is quite simple. We are matching the questions to selling our products, not to knowing our customers. So we are going to ask questions like, are you ready to start the project? Not necessarily what's the context of the project. We need to shift the language and the conversation to open-ended questions. Unpredictable answers will actually provide us with new knowledge, with new information about the customer, and the customer will control the conversation. What are you going to gain from that? You're going to gain new opportunities to understand how to create a yes code in your organization for that customer and how to treat this customer as the one and only. We did a lot of work in the auto industry, and we work with the salespeople on changing their questions. I'm deliberately going to a very granular, very simple thing, such as what is the quality of the questions we are asking? And traditionally, when you enter the car dealership, they'll ask questions like, what vehicle are you looking for? What model? What size of an engine? What color are you looking for? Or even, what is your budget? Which, by the way, can be very insulting questions. They did not ask questions that can actually open up opportunities to understand the customer in a very, very unique way. When you ask smart, open-ended questions like, what are you planning? When are you planning, or where are you planning your next vacation? Where are you going to take the car? How are you going to be utilizing it? What are the names of your children? And so on and so forth. They started to open a wider spectrum in which they were really our co-creator with the customer, as opposed to doing things to the customer. And I'll give you one example of a powerful question that when we introduced it, the car manufacturers thought it was a stupid question, but today have actually embraced it. So when a customer will come in, we'll ask them, what is their favorite song? Now, I'm sure you have purchased car before. Nobody asks you about your favorite song. And you're kind of wondering, why in the world would I ask that question? Let me tell you why. Oftentimes, especially with a luxury car like Mercedes or BMW, as was mentioned before that we work with them, these customers have worked really hard to get to a moment that they can afford a Mercedes or a BMW. And they would tell us that their favorite song, one of the most common one, was I Did It My Way by Frank Sinatra. When they came to receive their car, we would blast the song in the dealership. And at that moment, they'll hear the song. They'll remember that we asked them that question. And we now transformed the delivery of a car from a transactional, boring, one-size-fits-all experience to a very personal, very emotional experience for them, because for many of them, that song is the song that carried them through hardship, and now is the song that accompany them to come and get the rewards for that hardship. So a simple question can really change the way that we are actually crafting experiences. And it's not just about strategies, it's about the tactical conversations that we are having with our customers. The power of questions need to be permeating itself to the whole customer journey. Today, when you look at companies that are divided to the section in the journey in which we ask questions, and then the section in the journey in which we are becoming exclamation marks. So during strategy and R&D and product development, we ask questions like, what is the customer need? What is the right solution? What is the right price? What is the right packaging? What's the right delivery? But then we make the decisions, and then we shift, and all of a sudden, starting marketing, we're not asking questions anymore. We are becoming exclamation marks. This is your need. This is your solution. This is your price. This is your packaging. This is your delivery. And the whole value delivery part of the journey is becoming dictators and not questionnaires. And my purpose to you, my suggestion is that we are now with the one and only customer, with the notion of co-creation, need to merge the value creation and the delivery and keep the questions going across the whole journey. If we can get ready to ask questions in a different way, we can actually identify some great opportunities. Many of you do not know who System Analysis Program Development is. System Analysis Program Development was founded on April 1st, 1972 by 5 engineers. Those 5 engineers worked at IBM. They designed a software solution and went to IBM and said, we designed this software and we would like for you to sell it to customers. And their manager at IBM in 1972 told them, I think you made a mistake. We are a hardware company. We're not a software company. So if you want to do software, you need to take it elsewhere. We're not doing software. Because IBM acted like the old model. We developed hardware. Now we're selling hardware. Hardware is the exclamation mark. Those engineers, however, fused the value creation and value delivery and kept on asking, what do you need? What is the right solution? What is the right price across the whole journey? System Analysis Program Development is actually what we all know today as SAP or SAP. Their company was really our 5 engineers led by Hasso Plattner that left IBM because IBM was acting like an exclamation mark, like the Motorola of the cell phones, but in the world of software, and they missed the huge opportunity of collaborating with their customers into a brilliant new product opportunities and new solutions. Obviously, today IBM sells software and consulting, but at that moment they acted more as exclamation mark and not as a question mark. They were not in the yes code; they were in the no code, and they missed a great opportunity. So where can you start? You can start very tactically. Let's be the questions masters. Let's not come with exclamation marks. Let's start with uncovering brilliant emotional specifications and needs by asking different questions. Ask questions that respect your customer, that invite them to collaborate, that demonstrate genuine curiosity, identify the complete customer perspective, and co-create with them. And I want to give you a great example. Again, working with a luxury car manufacturer, customer came in and he was angry. He was angry because he was promised that the car that he purchased will show up today. And the salesperson had to deliver the bad news that the car is still stuck in customs and the car is not available today. And the customer is furious and screaming. That salesperson happened to be trained by Strativity and by myself and said to the guy, sir, can you just tell me, why do you need the car today? And the customer said, you want to know why? I'll tell you why. Today is my wife's birthday. This was her gift. And now I'm stuck. I look like stupid that I forgot her birthday. The salesperson at that point said to him, you know what, sir? I think I have a solution. If this is the issue, I think I have a solution. Said, give me a few minutes. The salesperson left the dealership, went and purchased a nice box of Godiva chocolate, removed one piece of chocolate from the center of the box, and placed instead of it a pair of keys for the car. Then wrapped it with a ribbon and handed it to the customer and said, you will not be missed in the birthday of your wife. She will appreciate and love you, and she will know how great your intentions were. So the power of questions is the power of identifying the real emotional specification and collaborate with the customers and creating brand new solution, one employee at a time. In order to bring employees to that place, one thing that I've learned across 250 transformation, it's the power of pride. If your brand passion is out there, we'll be great. If they're feeling that we are ready for the future, we'll do great. If they're coming with integrity that build trust, we'll do great. If you empower them to deliver and allow them to make decisions, that's going to be the secret sauce. If you want to work on something that will empower your employees to actually start delivering exceptional experiences, not just expected experiences, to make the choice to surprise the customer and treat one customer at a time as a one and only, what you can work on is first and foremost pride in the value that you are delivering. It's not a technology question, it's not a big budget question, it's a question of passion for the brand that we are delivering. Ultimately, the Yes Code is challenging us to move from treating all customers and every customers and getting into the mindset of only customers. From a place where we are the brand to a place that they are the brand. From a place that we have a great design to the place that we are in the dream fulfillment. From a place of our expertise rule the world to a joint creation. From a place that every solution fits every customer to only solution for only customers. From a place of a product to an individual experience, from feature to purpose, from destinations to evolving journey, from functionality to accomplishment, and ultimately from a differentiation that is us to a differentiation that is you. So we talked about the fact that ultimately there are two ways of winning business with customers: desperation or inspiration. If you want to put your company on the path to success, you have a choice to make. You have your own choice to make. And that is, are you focusing on every customer or you're treating every customer as the only customer that you have? Thank you very much. And we can now go into the question and answers section.
Thank you very much, Lior. Wait a second, I have to put my camera. Here I am. Maybe I'll remove that 1 second. Here we are. So thank you very much for the great presentation. We have Bogdan. Bogdan, he's saying time for your question. Ask away. Wait a second. He said something else, not this. Nicely put. I can do it. Oh, people are observing things. We have also Paul Roberts. I assume you know him. Be a question mark, not one exclamation mark. Brilliant, such a powerful yet simple lens. And our colleague being curious is the contagious for good interactions. I have a question for you. You spoke very deeply about how to create different moments, the experience, and how to use different technologies, and how we can get benefit from different technologies and how they evolved during the time. Sometimes they evolved really, and sometimes they went to the point A and B and they stopped it there, and so they needed some change, as SAP was the case, I think 7 years ago, when the cloud started to grow very fast. They have to acquire companies. So how you create a moment such as you mentioned about Frank Sinatra, I would never think about such small thing that can change the experience or the key or the key that he put it in the chocolate. This is what's the mindset necessarily to do that, because not everybody and not every expert and practical person in CX are going to look for those amazing moments that will change the life of the customer. How you connect with that and how you create those moments when you are designing the experience.
So here's the one thing we need to remember. We cannot spec the experience across millions and millions of customers that each one of them is the one and only. What we can do is inspire the employees to think differently. And when we work with employees, we focus on two things: focus on the emotional and focus on the power you do have, not the power you don't have. Every employee, every CEO, every director has power that they have and powers that they don't have. If you're going to try to turn customer experience into a set of processes, they're going to again deliver to expectations. But if you empower them to understand that every customer is a single one and only customer, then we need to dive deeper to understand what's the emotional mindset of the customer, what's the emotional context, and then come up with that. So I have to give you an example. So when we talk about the car delivery, okay, and I gave you one example with the song, another car dealership that heard about this came up with a different solution. You know what they did? They bring the police to block the street. So when you take your car for the first time from the dealership, you feel like a VIP. It was not my idea. I'm proud of this person, but he used the principles of thinking and they created it. When we work with Mercedes-Benz, we gave every dealership in the United States, 350 dealerships, 25,000 employees, they had the new KPI. You know what the KPI was, Ricardo? Stories. They had to produce 5 awesome stories in a month. Okay, the program produced 5,000 amazing stories, like the box of chocolate that you heard. Okay, this was one story from 5,000. If this was the only story, then it would be a failure. But when it's a 5,000 stories, then people feel that they are empowered to do it. And we took these stories and we shared them again and again and again with the dealerships to populate them, because they created both a new peak to rise up to, but also a safety net to tell you, if you dare to do that, we are going to take care of you. You are safe to dare. Because if they don't feel safe to dare, then they will continue with the processes and they're going to treat the customer one size fits all. You are a square and I have a hole, so it has to be like that. Hi, Yannicka. Good to see you again. Regards from Norway.
Great presentation, Lior. Thank you.
So the brand signature. I think that, Yannicka, the brand signature is very, very key here. Sometimes I see customer experience professionals copying concepts from different type of places. It doesn't make any sense because you don't stand up for anything that's unique to you. So the brand signature is like what we call the North Star, what we call the unique signature that is you and not someone else. And I had the privilege of working with Volvo, with Cadillac, with Mercedes-Benz, with Mazda, with Kia, and with BMW. And I have to tell you, I designed different programs to them because the DNA, what is the brand signature, is different. You cannot compare them. I work in the pharmaceutical business with Novo Nordisk from Denmark, with the Janssen Pharmaceuticals, with Biogen, with Fresenius from Germany. And guess what? Each one is they're producing medicine, they're dealing with patients who are suffering, but their DNA is different. So my ability to activate the employees to create that pride is directly related to the brand signature.
That's very interesting. Yeah, everybody's. That's what I say. As when you have a business model in a company, you cannot emulate. Nobody can copy. Nobody. You can copy a feature or something very small, but the company works in a different way. The culture is different, so you can never bring one thing for other. However, I have a question for you. Nobody made you sign a NDA to avoid bringing the histories for so many brands that you worked with.
We have contracts with them, and they're very, very proud of our working with us. And everything that I share, if I don't share the name of the company, then I cannot share the name of the company. We're very, very careful about that. We respect that. Ultimately, we co-created with them. It's their program, and so on and so forth. To your point, I want to say one more important thing. If I can take the customer experience strategy of maximizing customer acquisitions and maximizing retention, and I put it in a variety of companies, same strategy, maximizing and so on, same strategy, I will get different outcomes. Why?
Sure.
Because every strategy has a unique culture that's waiting for it. Some culture will accelerate it. Some culture will kill it. Some culture will delay it. People do not understand how critical the corporate culture is to the objectives. And I delivered a presentation last week on culture of excellence. And I remember sitting there with the CEO and everybody, and they look at me, they gave me this look saying, this is HR issue. Why are we talking about culture? Let's go talk to the HR. And I said, okay, I'm not going to talk about culture. I'm talking about your ability to make your objectives for the year. What are the chances that you're going to make your objectives? And I said, well, I don't know, this. I said, let me tell you what is the one driver that is going to determine if you're going to meet your objectives or exceed them. Your employee choices. Your employee choices are directly related to the culture in this company. If they feel that I'm empowered and courageous, they'll take it up. If not, they're not. Lynn, good to see you. Thank you for the comment here. And I absolutely agree with you. At the end of the day, it's not customer service, it's not customer experience, it's customer value creation. You either create value or you take away value. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very cool and very interesting what you are saying, because I never thought in those terms of creating those super moments, but I always thought, as you do, the culture is what molds everything else, because we can serve in the same position, but we are going to have different approach because we are different people as well. So that's how the culture comes to everything. So that's every point of the company. That's very interesting. Lior, people can find all your resources that you have, a lot of them, in your website, liorarussy.com, if I'm not
Correct.
wrong. And what's the
Correct.
best way to find you?
So first of all, liorrussy.com, you'll see two of the latest articles, one on Fast Company and another one in Chief Executive Magazine, talking about the AI customer and the implications, so you can share it with other people and so on and so forth. It has a variety of articles there. There are two more articles. I'm going to tease the audience to follow and pay attention. One article is destined, I believe, for next week or the week after, called Who Needs Salespeople? Also challenging that. And the other one is the end of marketing. So they are follow-up to the concept of the AI empowered customer, and I'm applying them to roles and responsibilities. So liorarussy.com is your best destination for that. Lior@liorarussy.com is my email. Feel free to send me emails, ask questions, and I'll be happy to share knowledge.
And Monica is saying, thanks for the inspiration. I like the idea we co-create with the customers. That's a great point. Yeah, Lior, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. Okay, your first presentation in the year. Thank you so much, Lior, for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Have everybody a great week. And we are going to talk very soon. This year, we are coming with the ECXO first event in personal. So we are preparing that for everybody. Have a lovely week. I think something else here, Monica. Somebody's saying, people are thanking you here. Love that you continue to provoke. That's a good one.
Thank you, Yeneka. Well, I'll see you in Oslo very soon. Larry, great to see you as well. Thank you very much for joining.
Have a lovely afternoon. Isabel is also here.
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you, everybody. Lior, have a lovely afternoon. Stay one more minute. I'm going to turn off and we talk. Thank you so much, everyone. Feel free to subscribe to the ECXO and to follow Lior Arussy, which I strongly advise you to do that. One of the best sources in the world of knowledge and practical knowledge. Have a lovely week. Thank you so much.